Do you want to get us kicked off? Go for it, madam.
Shall I say my name? If your family history was all well known, as you said, from the age of 5, does this mean that you haven't experienced the thrill of discovering your own roots?
That's a very, very good question.
Can you repeat it?
It's because I've grown up in a world where family history is talked about a lot. Have I ever experienced the thrill of discovering new ancestors? No, the answer is yes, of course. For two reasons. One is because the family history you learn from 5 is all wrong anyway. There's the myth that people want to talk to you about the family. But the second thing, of course, is that there's a lot of family out there. There's a lot of ancestors out there. And you kind of tend to focus on the one you think's quite glamorous. Oh, that's quite cool, as a ship's captain or something. But of course, it turns out that his sister was far more interesting. So I have experienced the thrill plenty of times. And that's what's great. It's almost infinite, the amount of stories and the amount of things that people, of course, being human, go through, and the amount of generations we've got to play with. So, but great question.
Following up on that, what would your advice be for people that are reluctant to confront an ugly episode of their past and kind of want to focus on the glorious and don't want to confront those episodes?
Take it from me, as somebody who has got a lot of ugly episodes in my family's past, don't worry about it. I have got a First World War general responsible for the slaughter of thousands of people at the Battle of Somme. I have got an unscrupulous, unethical, dodgy trader who went out to India and exploited the population of Bengal and made huge amounts of money and then came home to Britain and built himself a huge home. He did use up all his money and die in poverty, but I have got, we are all descended from people who today we would regard as unacceptably racist, sexist, bigoted. Of course we are. Of course we are. My family benefited from the wealth created by the slave trade. Of course they did. So my answer is that what that should be teaching us is confront those things, talk about those things, and then start to think in your own life. What do you want your descendants not to be embarrassed about when it's you? Use family history. Use it as an opportunity to go, you know what? Maybe I will buy that electric car a little bit earlier than I was planning. Maybe I will go easy on eating beef. Maybe I will try and take fewer flights, because I'm sure my great-grandkids are like, what was that guy flying around the world? Just, and you knew that the impact on global warming. What is it? So confront it. It's not your fault. It's not your fault. But you should try and control things that are your fault.
Hi, I'm Jill from Australia.
Hello, Jill.
G'day. How are you going to help your children confront these stories?
Well, how do I help them? How do I help my children? I'm honest with them. I talk to my children all the time. But we do a lot of history in our family, both their own ancestors but everyone else's ancestors. We talk about Boudica. I explore Boudica with my daughter. Is it a good idea, if your family had been mistreated by the Romans like they were, to then murder the population of London? We talk about this all the time in our family. My 6-7-year-old's like, yeah, I can see where Boudica was coming from. I'm like, oh, so the answer is discussion and honesty and thought. It's certainly not going, there is your glorious ancestor up on the wall in the golden frame to be emulated and to make you feel insecure about. No. These are all people. They're all human. And I say to my kids all the time, I talk about my failure, I talk about how rubbish I am at sport, whatever it might be. Building up any kind of hero is fatal. And I believe that their lives are going to be richer if they understand that they've come from princesses and paupers. They've come from fishermen and bankers. And they all, and it's all part of the rich mix that is them and makes them individual and unique. Yes?
How do you go about giving your kids the Stockholm syndrome so that they will be
That's much more straightforward, because you just get up in the morning, you don't ask them what they want to do, you put them in a car or a train and you take them to historical sites. And people say to me all the time, do your kids, what a wonderful thing, do your kids love history? I say, I don't know, I've never checked. It's just what they do all the time. So, and listen, we're blessed, particularly in the UK, but whenever I travel in the States with kids, first thing I do now is go on TripAdvisor or what's near me, and I work it out, and we go to, there are the most glorious institutions now. Just last week, I went to Ironbridge in Shropshire, and then we're dressing up as Victorian characters. We're watching the iron smelted, and I mean, it's fun. It's better than any theme park. And so, although I joke about giving the Stockholm Syndrome, I think spending the day on the Mary Rose, spending the day on USS Texas last time I was in Houston, is just frankly better than anything else that they could be doing. And we spend better time as a family together. We're learning, we're having fun, we're laughing, we're being together. And so, although I joke about Stockholm Syndrome, I'm a passionate believer in spending time together in heritage environments.
I live in North Wales.
Yes.
And do you find that the North ancestors are the most difficult ones to research? In fact, have you researched yourself?
Yeah, the North Walian ancestors are a bit tricky. That's true. They are a bit tricky to research. That's right. Now, if I'm looking at the 4 or 5 different strands, they probably are the hardest to research.
Yeah. I'm particularly thinking, they were shoemakers and not particularly the most well-off ones. I know myself, I've got shoemakers and I've got other ones that are not very well-off, and it's difficult finding them in the records, maybe.
Yeah, so there's 2 problems with my North Walian ancestors. One is they came from slightly more humble backgrounds. They don't leave that bigger footprint in the records. But secondly, they are all called the same name as each other and as all of their cousins and everyone in the village.
Yeah, all the Joneses and
Oh
the
my
Williams
God,
and
the Lloyds and the Georges. I mean, don't start me. So that's why I got grey hair. Yes.
I'm Maureen from France, and I wanted to know if I tell you future of genealogy, what are 3 words that come to your mind?
The future of genealogy, 3 words that come to my mind. Is DNA a word? Probably DNA. Technology and network. So if I look at my dad, he has got a huge piece of paper with our family tree on it, and I've tried getting him on the software. I've tried so many times, I just can't do it. And if he rings up, if a New Zealander gets on the phone and goes, I think we're cousins, Dad just goes, oh my God, and he has to try and draw it on. I say, Dad, there has to be a way of, we are all going to be networked in a way that allows us to just access these whole different, until finally it's everywhere. Yes.
I'm Sean from Australia.
Hello,
I'm just
Sean.
wondering whether DNA has brought any surprises in your family, if you found any surprises.
DNA is not. We haven't done much DNA in our family. It's not brought many. We got so many surprises without the DNA. Let me tell you. There's all sorts of dodgy love children kicking around in my family. So they're not dodgy. They're beloved members of my family. But they are. So we're not ready for the extra level of drama yet. We're still trying to digest this fast level.
Second question.
Can I just go with that first and then
I just wanted to know, do you take your children traveling with you when you come over and do these shoots?
Yeah, that's a very good question. I do take the children travelling with me a lot on filming locations of film trips. I was in Dresden last year with a wonderful man called Victor Gregg, who was a prisoner of war in Dresden during the Second World War. He was there when the British and Americans bombed Dresden, so he witnessed the firestorm up close. And he went back to meet other survivors, and I took my kids along on that trip. It's one of those special experiences I've ever had, professionally, but also from a personal point of view. So yeah, I try and take them as much as possible. Poor little things.
And then storytelling. Is there a difference in how you tell a historical story for television than you would sitting around the living room or writing stories? How does television change the storytelling?
TV, there's a different storytelling for oral tradition, just personal speaking. When you're up on a stage, when you're on TV, when you're on a podcast or radio, is different. I don't know if it's right, but I find myself slipping into all these different genres. And I think TV, you're assuming there's less engagement. Actually, oddly, it's so shiny and it's in the corner of your room, but actually, people aren't able to. You're not penetrating that deeply sometimes. I think it's a little bit more, and then something else happens. Whereas podcasting or speaking to family, you're able just to draw them in, and you're able to take longer over things and have longer pauses like I'm doing now, and explore things together and have thoughts. I wonder if this is halfway through. So it's all a bit different. Yes, Adam.
What's the best way of presenting sensitive information on your family tree?
What's the best way of presenting it?
Very sensitive information.
Oh, sensitive.
Yeah, very sensitive.
Wow.
Like, for example, I had this question once. It was a pedophile file in the family?
Well, that's a good question. If it's a monstrous crime, I think I wouldn't. It's very difficult to say. I think I wouldn't. Obviously, I think I'd enable descendants of mine or people that came after me that were interested. I'd give them the clues that they might need. But I wouldn't. But for other people that just have a passing interest and don't want to feel bad about themselves, so I would try and use language, or I would try and give a sort of subtle link, a little prompt. Came to an unsavoury, this is just me thinking on the spot here. And then if someone just casually reading, oh, whatever, oh, that's interesting, war hero, but they'd scooch over the bit that you. But I don't think you should bury it. But it all does come back to,
The person involved decided to cut that branch of the tree off. So you can't do that because it's a rule,
But also before 1850. Most of us were paedophiles. That's the other thing, right? So, I hope that clip doesn't get clip
You
without
weren't here before
context.
1850, that's okay.
But I think that it is important that, and in a way, that's part of understanding. It's part of the richness of family history. It's why we do it. We say, look, this person was engaged in activity that today was unthinkable. But like I keep saying, our descendants will find. We don't know but they might find us driving cars because we fancied a day at the beach and burning up £100 of petrol. They might find that extraordinary.
We often say we need to put things in the context of
No
the
context
time
is so
rather
important.
than our own 21st century.
All of our ancestors here were owners of enslaved people in one way or another, stretching back 10,000 years. All of them were.
Not mine, we were the slaves.
Well, no, but if you're alive today, you're probably descended from Charlemagne, right? So they're gone.
Talk about your Welsh granny. Have you got a favourite story? And was it true?
My Welsh granny, oh my goodness, so many stories, and was it true? My favourite story is the one that was true, actually, about David Lloyd George, her grandfather, learning his schoolwork and learning it from his uncle every day and then having to repeat it the following night. His uncle would relearn it and then repeat it to the boys. That was a very special story for me. But she would tell me stories about my mum when she was little, like all families do. Just stuff that wouldn't mean anything to you guys, but for me is a huge part of who I am. Yes.
Did your grandmother ever find out that some of her stories were not true?
Well, my grandmother knew full well that some of the stories weren't true. She was a storyteller. She had a twinkle in her eye. That was part of it. And no one would have been rude enough to say, "Mine, that's changed a bit from last time," because that wasn't what it was about. It was poetry. It was poetry. It was stories. What?
And stories about Thomas Snow passed on in your own family law before you went to research in person.
Yeah, no, we had a sort of family myth about him. We were all very rude about him anyway. We're kind of they're a family of journalists, so we love tearing people down and being rude about people. And we all heard that the only big myth that comes to us from my dad is that Thomas Snow was one of those generals who preferred horses to tanks. It turns out that actually he was quite keen on tanks. So that's one grotesque lie that we didn't. But then we researched him more and we found out he had other problems going on. Yeah, you went last one.
Do you think there's anything we can do to stop history getting squeezed out of the school curriculum?
So can we stop history getting squeezed out of school curriculum? I mean, as citizens and taxpayers, we can try and we can do it. But I think the best thing we can do is take matters into our own hands and double down on history at home, history in our history not as an academic subject that you have to study until you get to the age of 14, but history is something that's all around us every day. History that makes it inexplicable. You can't walk through a city or a town or a village or a world without understanding the past and talking about it. So my kids are going to do history at school, I hope, but that's not where it begins and ends for me. I hope so.
Technical question. Where did you find those letters from General Snow?
Imperial Museum. My uncle gave them to the Imperial War Museum, and then so the question was, where did I find the letters from General Snow? And my uncle gave them to the Imperial War Museum, and the Imperial War Museum said, we're happy to lend them back to you. And I was like, oh well, what, for this TV show? That's very generous of you. I mean, would you believe it? So they made a big song and dance about lending it to us for the TV show. But you know, they're keeping it safe, so good on them.
This is going to be our last question.
Okay, well, Madam, you have asked me. There's the fact that there is a difference between family history and history. It's inexplicable to me. It doesn't make any sense. People say, "Do you like history? Do you also like family history?" I'm like, "What are you on about? I mean, it's the same." So yeah, of course we need to work together. And family historians tell up extraordinary granular detail, which is vital to understanding what a period was like. We're very lucky. Historians are very lucky that family historians are doing their work, and vice versa. And I don't see any difference really at all, nor should there be. So thank you very much. So you joined late. Come on, let's have one more.
Yes, I want to talk. You talked about slave traders.
Yeah.
And also, actually, I'm a solicitor now retired because I was researching. My 4 times great grandfather was Mr. Macaulay. He was a Scottish man who was the governor of Sierra Leone, where I came from originally. And so I wrote a book, Fascinating History of My Liberated Ancestors. That's about my ancestors, and I was very pleased with it. But the genealogists picked it up and traced it much further to the Middle Ages. So now I'm just completing a second book, and it's very unique because as a black person, and even traced it to royalty and so on. So I'm actually looking for somebody who can actually help, because I don't want to make any mistakes. This is the first book; it's already been published. I've almost completed the second one, and it's very unique because I could see from his will in National Archives in Kew, I was able to trace his siblings and so on. And
amazing.
I was able to, and it's the 4 times,
4 times great grandfather.
Yes.
Extraordinary.
And it goes to,
I'm going to look out for it. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
That's very cool. Very nice to meet you.
Yeah.
I'll make a note. I'll make a note. Let me take a picture of
I
the
might be contacting you. Yes. And at the back. Yeah.
Here we go. Lovely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So I might be contacting you.